We are going to complete this module 1 slides and module 1 topics, and then we will switch over to next topic for module 2, where we'll go through the basic data tool, which is nothing but the master data required to build a recipe. Before that, we will also have insight about bill of materials, different types of bill of materials, single level bill of materials, and multi level. And then if we will have time, then we will go for the exercise. I'll take you through the configuration related to basic data tools and everything. Okay, either a PLM, or alone PLM, or along with PLM, project and portfolio management. And if there is a requirement of cost and profitability statement where they want to see, and then we can also propose the project systems. And we also talked about commercial project management and investment project and customer investment project, both we have discussed. Yeah, these all are the industry customer benefits if they use the PLM in CP industry, consumer product industry. So while submitting an RP proposal, you will have to provide that justification that how the PLM is going to give the benefit to them if they are going to implement this SAP PLM module. So this is insight about how the customer is going to be benefited, because we have seen that there are a lot many users, a lot many recipe developers. They will be working on silos, and they are not connected. So some users, they are using they're developing a product. They're keep on doing trials with different version, but which is not aligned with the other users who are already working in different part of the country or different plants. So all those things, it is missing. So here, this is few of the consumer customers benefit PLM bring up here. So this is just for information and very theoretical. Yeah, of course, once you try to explain, you can always correlate with the better traceability, more transparency, supplier collaborations, and then end-to-end visibility, and then different product comparison. And this slide talks about PLM in process industry, and you can see that there are different, the stage, or you can say the flow, process flow is same. Idea to launch a product, and from idea of creating a product, and then for that new product development, they'll create a project, and that once that is approved, then that particular product will form into a requirement, and it will be handed over to recipe developer, and recipe developer will start working on prototyping. And once they will start the typing, they will do the trials, different trials, and once it is fine, and then they will hand over for the formulation, where the again recipe developer will start working on the formulation, and once it is finalized, they will send it to the regulatory authority, and regulatory authority will check the compliance for the recipe which they have received from recipe developer. And then once the compliance check is successful, all documents are meeting the requirement, and then authority will approve that particular product recipe. And that recipe, global recipe, it will be handed over to uh, production engineer, and they will start the manufacturing. So here you can see that this picture is representing how specification, and what is the relationship between the specification and the material. Yesterday, I think somebody was asking about what is the relationship. for material as well as recipe or specification. So you here you can see that this is a product flow. Here you can see that one product specification uh, is linked to multiple materials. But the relationship with specification and material will be unique. It doesn't matter, the material number will be different. So one plant will be using one material, another plant will be using another material. So there is a configuration settings. There is based on the business scenario, you can configure in such a way that either you want to have one specification with one material or one specification with n number of material. Okay, so that's why in the first part you can see the product flow. They have shown that product specification will have 1 is to n. So where they have shown the relationship with specification and material with n number of material. Raw material flow, you can see that, and here you can see this is acting as a product specification, which is nothing but your finished product, which will be linked to the general recipe, which is it is nothing but when you are preparing a recipe, when you are or any recipe developer is trying to make a general recipe, so they will definitely have to consider uh, an output specification, which is linked from here in this picture what you can see. So every general recipe will have one, at least one product specification, which is nothing but your output specification, and then that specification will be treated as a final product or finished product. So, and you can see here the ingredient specification, which is nothing but a raw material. So in there are different ingredients, there are different which is used for a recipe. So it will be on trial already for a recipe, and multiple ingredient specification can be used as can be used and linked to a recipe. So basically, if you want to prepare a finished product, and if you want to use multiple ingredient specification, then in this picture is this diagram, it shows that raw material flow, which is nothing but your ingredient, or you can say it is raw material also. So it will be used here and it will be added to the recipe. So that's why you can see that flow is from here ingredient specification to general recipe. So in upcoming sessions, I will show you how you can directly add an ingredient specification to a recipe when we are creating a recipe. And recipe type, of course, here general recipe. And general recipe will definitely have at least one output specification, which is in this diagram, it is shown as it is linked from here. So specification will have output specification will form a general recipe, and then you can see here as a site recipe, which is nothing but a plant recipe. There is a config setting, the plant dependent settings and plant independent setting in SPRO, where you can do the setup if you want to make one recipe as a plant specific recipe or not. If something is made as a plant recipe, then you need to set up the configuration there so that you can treat that recipe as a site recipe, or you can say the same thing as a plant recipe. So you can create from one general recipe to multiple plant recipe. Suppose you have one global product which is available across the globe, but as per India and in as per in India plant, suppose they have five plants, but they are using different components for a recipe. So what they will do, they are not going to change this global product, but they will just copy, and then they'll make five different site recipe as per five plant. That's why you can see that one is to n relationship. One general recipe can have multiple site recipe or multiple plants. That's why you can see that here 1:n relationship. And then finally, this site recipe or plant recipe can have multiple BOM or master recipes. So which you can see here 1:n relationship. Of course, recipe will have one main finished one main output spec, which will have the multiple components which is similar to your BOM. So BOM will have main component or parent, which will be followed by a child, which you can say that n number of child. So that's why it is shown here 1:n relationship. So here you can this picture shows that derived information. What is it about? This gives an information about how from a general recipe you can generate a different types of labels, and this label is basically called a product label, which is used in product packaging. So it can be different types of label, like packaging label or different product labels. So everything you can derive for a process industry for PLM, you can derive from general recipe. And of course, site recipe also you can generate a label. So when you are generating a label which is used for a product packaging, you need to decide whether you want to generate a label from either from a general recipe or from a site recipe. You can still decide. And based on that one, you need to do the setting for the label layouts and all, and where you can generate a different labels. And there will be a different registration information also, which will be available along with this one. And of course, once compliance, that's why you can see that under compliance and label, you can see this part. So that's why this diagram is shown in this way, where you can correlate the things. Okay. And uh, this so here you can see the derived information, also all sorts of label, all sorts of registration information, certificate, everything will be attached to that recipe. Here you can see the raw material flow. You can see that ingredient specification is nothing but a raw material which will be procured, and which will be which you can say that it is also a purchasing specification. So in order to manufacture a finished product, you need different raw materials, and that raw materials should be procured from different suppliers of that raw material. So you can, it will be a internal process. They will create a purchase order, or they will have the collaboration with supplier where they can supply uh, the raw material. So that's why you can see that raw material flow. You can see the ingredient spec, purchasing spec, and then new raw materials. So this has got a 1:n relationship. Here you can see that deviating product flow for flavors or special chemicals. This is your 1:1 relationship is there. So where you can see that one product specification will have one material creation once you hand over uh, to manufacturing. So basically this is the overall flow as per the PLM in process industry. And there they have shown here the relationship between the specification, ingredient specifications, general recipe to site recipe, and how it is labels and registration information are derived, and what is the relationship between the specification and material. If there is a global change required, suppose there the material itself is changed, or a material, the logistic material itself is obsolete, then the requirement comes from, you cannot do at directly at site recipe or plant recipe. Someone has to trigger from the global recipe, which is nothing but your general recipe. That material needs to be replaced with a new material. But first of all, they need to finalize that general recipe and uh, create a site recipe, and then they will hand over, and then material will be linked to that general recipe. So finally, if based on the requirement, you need to, I mean, it depends on who are involved and the changes are required at plant level, you can still copy the existing plant recipe version and do the changes. But if the changes are required at global recipe level, then you can anyhow things will not work for you when you wanted to make any change at plant recipe level. It has to trigger from the global level of recipe. Every recipe will have a unique version. So the
Okay.
thing is, a recipe has got version and alternate concept. So when you want to make any change, you need to stick on which version you are making a change. Whether you are copying from the latest version of site recipe and then you are making a change, system will uh, ask you to copy that recipe, which will create altogether a new version of that recipe, and then you can make a changes whatever you want. Okay. So here the roles, again the roles in R&D, you can see here different roles. And if I wanted to show you about the roles, yeah, this slide shows you the who all are involved at which stage. So rather than talking about those slides where we have shown the where we were, yeah. So here you can see that basic, and when we do the exercise, so it is important that the specific role to perform those activities has to have assigned to that particular user. Then only you can see in Fury tiles that particular. Then only you can see in Fury Launchpad that particular Fury app is visible for them. So that's why in order to understand and perform the activity, this but as per general business process, these all roles authorities they are involved from end to end. That's why this slide shows about that. This is about customer stories in the life science industry. As you can see that this is a typical product development for life sciences, where you will find that there are two stages in there are two different activities in life science. One is basically like they will be working on some uh, processing, or you can say active ingredient processing, and second one will be a drug development. So basically the life science and pharma industry they will work on these two parallel activities, and then finally uh, they make it together and then they will proceed for the manufacturing. So now this example shows the life science industry where you can see that idea of a product with respect to a project finance related activities will be the starting phase here, and then they will find the specification and formulation they identify, and then in order to procure for the formulation or specification they will procure the material or raw material from the supplier. So that's why you can see that here is a supplier collaboration. There are the document and dossier management related activity will be performed in next stage, and then once it is approved by regulatory change management, then this will be sent for market approval. In between these two, there are different trials. There are different stage and trial phase one, two, three, and once third is successfully completed, then they will send for production, and that will be based on the market approval. So this is more or less the life science industry, how you can how they can use the PLM for their product development. And I think this slide we have already discussed earlier. So this is a end-to-end uh, phase from ideation to commercialization. Only the difference between from earlier slide to this slide is you can see that here different system involved, and SAP system where the master data element, material master everything. You can see here MDG, and SAP MDG is there, SAP PLM which covers this one, SAP EPPM which covers this activities, and then ERP or S4 you can see here. So this is from this is SAP perspective. This slide is shown, but as per the end-to-end phase, it is same as earlier. This is a best practice for new product development, and you can see that here the specification management, recipe development, and material management, how it is linked, and this is the overall process flow which you can see end to end, and how the specification are involved. Here you can see the finished product spec. Here you can see that how is it visible for you guys? You can see that this is more or less end-to-end process for new product development, and it is a standard. You can see that here recipe handover to manufacturing, and there are different stages where they finalize everything. They create a recipe for finished product, and then they maintain a recipe header, and then they maintain a recipe formula, and then they once the check is successful, then they will hand over to manufacturing. So here also you can see that link for the trigger of creation of a recipe creation workflow. This is more or less very standard, and it will be changed as per business case. So, but this is representation from SAP for PLM, new for best practices in new product development. This is just for information. You can see this is for the for this slide is more or less from project and portfolio management perspective, but this is not part of our lab exercise or training. But this is just for your information. In future, if anything you want to correlate from start to end, you can refer this. Here you can see that in trial you can see that how the managed specification and different stages are mentioned about, and in each of the stages there are different bullet points which is mentioned where anyone has to perform the activity. So these all are more of uh, these all are more or less from the any if you are involved with any RFP proposal and you wanted to show that how end-to-end process flow for SAP PLM recipe development you need to propose. You can consider this per end-to-end flow, and then you can capture this all from each stages the different attributes where you will have to estimate basically. So these all are different activities from each of the stages. So these all will have a different box, and where you can mention that what all activities are performed within this each of the blocks. So here you can see that in compliance, the product compliance and how you are, and I think one of our colleague, I could not get his name. He was talking about transfer to primary output, and then compliance level check and recipe release for the production. This all, I mean, wherever you are seeing this highlighted, you can see that this slide is for compliance, and you can see that within compliance there are different activities, and with that activity, each of the block will have these activities. That's what this diagram shows. Then finally, you can see that here handover to manufacturing when you are finalizing the bomb recipe synchronization, bomb to bomb, and you can this slide shows about that, and this is about the change. This is basically for engineering change management, where we will also cover in the module 6 or part 6. We will see that how engineering record or engineering change record will be created, how it will be triggered, how the change process flows, what all different types of activities we do, how the workflow template can be built. So basically, this slide shows this slide represents the changes, how the change process gets triggered, and how it is getting approved, and how the changes are released for production, and how it is handed over to manufacturing. So that's why this you can see that in this diagram it shows about the managed changes. So this is basically if the changes are triggered either from the manufacturing or the changes related to the design changes. So it has to go through the certain approval process, and it needs to trigger. So this diagram shows more or less the about engineering change management. These all blocks are different activities which falls within each of the block. Okay, so we are done with this module 1, and we will start with the next module, which is more or less more activities we need to perform in the system, and we will start the master data elements of recipe. Here it is important, and we are going to start from scratch. I mean, we'll go through the all configuration user guide, you can say, for specification management. Then we will go through the different specification types, identify usage, specification property, status management, material assignment. Okay, the concept of inheritance and reference for copy specification. Mm, okay, so this model is very basic and very important, and in order to start uh, a master data element which is required for recipe. Okay, data model, and this is high level but very simple, and very clear picture where you can see that a finished product recipe. This is basically a data model where you can see that the bulk product recipe or pre-mix recipe, and then raw material specification, it is all connected, and finally a primary output specification which is linked with the material, and then it is all connected to the finished product recipe. So this is basically a data model, and we are going to follow this data model and create a recipe in the system, and then you will understand one recipe or one intermediate can be used as an input of the recipe. Also one premix recipe which is already a recipe that can be used within a recipe when you are creating a new recipe. One bulk product recipe can be used which has got multiple raw material specification. Of course, in order to finalize a recipe, you will have a packaging recipe also. You can also create a packaging recipe. You will have packaging specification added based on the business scenario. You can add there and you can create a recipe for that. So in turn, you can have a recipe, both type, packaging recipe also you can create, and finished product recipe also you can create. But in this diagram, you can see that it is an overall data model it is provided. Okay. This is a very rough picture, uh, which I was, generally I draw and I show step by step, but you can say that how the master data is here. You can see that there are raw material, ingredient, semi-finished, and ingredient 2. There are two different ingredients. These all are actually used as an input of the recipe, which helps to create a which will fall under a recipe formula. So basically, what is recipe formula is nothing but it is a combination of different input or specification which is used. So if you ask that what is a specification? Specification is a description that uses identifies value assignment type and the header information, which shows the physical chemical properties. So that is why we call it as a specification. So these all inputs what you are seeing, this is used to create a finish, used to manufacture a finished product, or a recipe developer, or in the lab they will create all this specification, and then they will use this specification into a recipe, and they will formulate this, and they will transfer all these formulations value everything to a output, and this output will become the final product which you are seeing example here, Tata Tea Gold, which is the final product what you can see. And this will be called as an output of the recipe. So here you can see that all the values will flow from this input of the recipe. This is one of the example for CPG industry, or this is one of the example from pharma industry, where you can see that aspirin will be treated as a recipe output here, or a final product which is available in the market. This part I don't want to talk because this is MSDS or label, which is part of EHS. And whenever someone wants to create a MSDS or a label which is relevant to chemical industry, that will also be generated out of no, out of this, either from the input or either from the final product output. So, but in PLM for process industry, we have recipe label. We are not using the EHS specific label. We are not using WWI templates. We are not using those template layouts. So altogether, recipe has its own label where you can generate, and then you can use that. So this, you can see that this is nothing but a centralized database. uh, I mean, the centralized database is nothing but specification will have lot of attributes, physical, chemical properties, the name, and what all different values needs to be maintained. So, so everything should be maintained within those specifications, and it can be at individual level, either at raw material level, ingredient specification, semi-finished specification, or ingredient specification, everything. Out of it, we can also generate a formula, but sorry, report, but which can be for internal purpose only, which will be not for the customer, because in PLM for process industry, the formulation report is something which is usable inside of the organization. It is for internal and confidential information, and for sometimes in any of the client or any of the organization they wanted to have that formulation report, then we can generate that formulation report based on the requirement. Yeah. So now next topic is bill of materials, as based on Swati and based on Sriman's input. we wanted to include these slides, and we wanted to talk on bill of materials. So that's why this simple example I wanted to bring here in 2 3 slides where you can understand, because when we are going for a recipe creation, what all, then we will have to understand what is bill of material. So you can see here, so this is actually hierarchy of bill of material. Bill of material is nothing but, you can say that in simple example, if you want to order a laptop, then laptop is a main material which is sold to the customer, which is available in the market. But laptop has its own component, like you can see what is the processor it is being, what is the processor configuration, what is the keyboard is used, and what type of keyboard, whether without backlight or with backlight, what is the monitor, and what is, I mean, this is actually a very rough example. As if you ask me, here it should be a computer monitor, because here you can see the processor, keyboard and monitor is there. So this is something like desktop computer, but I think it is shown here laptop, it should not be. But this is a rough cut example I wanted to bring here. Keyboard will have casing and keys, so this is a standard structure of bill of material where you can see. So similarly, if you are going to buy any finished product, might be with that finished product you will, it will come by default a different set of product, which is might be not visible for the customer, but it is always comes with the product. So you can see here the bill of material addresses the component that form your product and the production time per component. So it will have the quantity. So it can have, the parent can have one quantity or it can have two quantities. And so you can see that here you can see that the upper part is called a parent, okay, which is sold in the market, and this part you can see that this is called children. So when you will find very frequently that when somebody talks about bomb, then they will very frequently they will call it as a parent and child relationship. So parent is nothing but your main material or finished product which is available in the market, anything. And the child or children is nothing but the lower level of material which is might be not visible, but it is always linked to that main material, main parent bond. So about this is about uh, this is about the bill of material, okay. And this is also called a single level of bomb, where you can see, here you can see the example of multi-level bomb. Here in this example you can see this is a main material or main bomb, where it is indicated as a. A has got two components B and C, and in turn B will also have multiple components, like B has one component, and also other than G they have F, E, F. So B has two component G and F. C has got two component E and D, and in turn E will also have two components. So this diagram represents a clear representation of the multi-level bomb and how it is being separated. You can see here level 0 is the main bomb or main finished product which is sold in the market. So this is a parent bomb, and this level where you can see A has got two component B and C. So this is level 1. Level 2 you can see the children, where you can see that C has got two different component along with B which has got the two components, and level 3 has got level 3 has got another component for G, But here you can see that G again has two quantity, not one quantity. But in green, highlighted in green above, you can see that one quantity. So this has got two component, but one of the component has got two quantities of this particular component, and all other has got one quantity. So you can see here, but what is the significance of this color is nothing but this component is also used here, and the lead time is same here. So basically, this multi-level bomb, this graphical representation shows that the structure of multi-level bomb, and what is parent and what is child. So this whole the lower level is called as a child, and the top level what you are seeing is the main bomb material what you can see here. And there are different level 0, level 1, level 2, and level 3. So whenever you enter, you try to order a product, or in normal scenario, when you go and buy anything, any computer or any laptop, uh, so they will have different component. It will automatically considered in the sales order. So that is nothing but your component which is exploded, but it will be only exploded when there is a itemized bill are required. So the system will show that how many components are linked to that main material or main product. So that is how this bomb concept is there. If we talk about the types, different bill of materials types, then you can see here there are different types of bomb. This is engineering bomb, manufacturing bomb, and sales bill of material. Okay. So when you are selling to a customer, you will have a finished product, which is nothing but your sales bill of material, where seller will show that particular sellable component in the itemized bill. So that kind of thing will come into picture when you talk about sales bill of material. Manufacturing bill of material is nothing but which is a sellable in which will be used for a manufacturing department, and they will always refer this manufacturing bill of material as a logistic material. And but in their terminology they will call it as a M bomb. Engineering bomb is nothing but it is engineered for engineer product, and which can be used based on the stage to stage, but it is not finalized at one shot. So for engineering department, they will use and they will call this E bomb as an engineer term, and which they will uh, they will hand over to the manufacturing. So there is a the stage. Uh, if I call at a design bomb, which will be designed initially to have a manufact to manufacture that product. So first stage is design bomb, then second stage will be engineering bomb, where it will be handed over. I mean, for any design product, design bomb, which will have the different components with the main bomb, it will be handed over for the engineering department. They will then add the multiple things, and they will make a engineering bomb, and then engineering bomb they will hand over to manufacturing bomb. And once this manufacturing bomb from the manufacturing department is been done, then it will be sent to the customer, where the sales department they will call it as a sales bomb. So there are different types of bomb based on the usability they call it as. And here is the example, a very simple but good example. What you can see here, parts of a mountain bike, which you can see here the finished product, which is your main bomb, which you would have seen in the level 0 in the previous slide. And level 1 bomb is nothing but your wheel and frame of this bike. And wheel has got four different BOM components, which you can see here: spokes, tire, beam, and hub. And I understand that this is relevant to manufacturing or discrete industry, but this was a very simple example to refer. So I have put up this in the slide. So you can see here level 2 bomb is here. So this level 1 bomb has different component which is grouped into level 2 bomb, which is highlighted under level 2 bomb, sorry. Yeah, and level 3 bomb, you can see that tire has got tire valve, which has got another component which is grouped under level 4 bomb. So this is overall representation of a bomb uh, types, and how, what is the hierarchy of this bomb. So you can see that in the previous slide we have seen another example of laptop or desktop computer, and we have seen that how the bomb level 0 to level 4 we have seen. Similarly, bringing this mountain bike as an example, how the bomb hierarchy is shown here, and how many types of bill of materials available. But for process industry, definitely similar to this, we have we have recipe bomb, and then we have manufacturing bomb, which we are going to hand over to manufacturing. So the recipe bomb will be synchronized to the manufacturing bomb, and then this recipe bomb will be finalized to a manufacturing bomb, and manufacturing bomb will be linked to the logistic material. So in logistic, in simple terms, in process industry, they don't have this kind of uh, terminology very frequently used like engineering bomb, but in engineering industry they termed this as an engineering bomb. But R&D, whatever the terminology they will use as a formulation or recipe formulation. They will call as an intermediate. Intermediate is nothing but another uh, product or another raw material which is used uh, to form a final product or final recipe. So these kind of premixes is nothing but a kind of a kind of level 2 or level 3 bomb, what you can see here. So premixes, intermediate, these all are one type of bomb only, which has got its own component, which has its own raw material, which has its own ingredient, which is linked to that, and then that in premixes and intermediates are used to create an altogether new recipe. So that's how they termed it. So this is what about bomb, and this was very short, and I think you can refer this slide. Okay, so now we are coming to the basic data and tool component, where we discuss how, what is the concept and structure of menu. Let me tell you one important point here, that recipe does not have its own. When it started from offering from SAP side, then there was they didn't have, I mean, recipe management was there long back. When in 15 years back, then SAP PLM for recipe management started. That time there was no component available in SPRO for a specification, but it was used to be under basic data component, basic data and tools, which was under EHS. So you will see that you can still see there are there are specification management under PLM recipe development, and there are specification under the EHS, environmental health and safety, and under that one you will also find the specifications and basic data tools. Under basic data tool you will find the specification phrase and different component. We'll see. Okay, so before going to integration with other modules, I'd like to show you the specification. So this is a specification management and which is required for the data elements of recipe. So you can see here the hierarchy which needs to be started from the listed substance. So we need to go in this direction when we want to build a recipe. And of course, in the next slide, I also have the whole recipe structure. So I would like to show you. They maintain all regulatory related information at pure substance level. So the example of pure substance is here. So what is pure substance? So you can see here the sugar and which is pure in nature, and baking soda, ammonia, all these are available. All these are called as a pure substance. So this pure substance example, so basically there is a difference between listed substance and pure substance. For chemical industry, they maintain their regulatory related data at listed substance level. For PLM, for process industry, they maintain their regulatory data at pure substance level, and they will use this as a they will use this as a component of any finished product specification or output specification, or any kind of uh, specification, ingredient specification for the process industry or chemical industry. So whenever you want to talk about uh, whenever you want to maintain the listed substance, then you maintain for the chemical industry relevant regulatory related information. Whenever you want to update the relevant information, then you need to maintain at least a substance level. Whenever process industry related regulatory information they want to maintain, they start from pure substance. So I have shown here, you can go in this way, you can assign this pure substance to real substance group, and it can be assigned to real substance. And then this has got a relationship like this, and the hierarchy we need to follow like this. And basically this shows the specification management, how the specification, different types of specifications are available here, which is nothing but listed, pure, real substance group. So this kind of specification types are available, and mainly it is used for chemical industry and also for process industry. From, if we differentiate from SAP perspective, it is based on the how you want to use. But here on the top, you can see that when you open the system, you can see that in the specification database, you can see that there are different types or category. You can see that substance, agent, packaging, waste code, and DG classification. So there are two ways you can open the specification in the system. I'd like to show you. Yeah. Uh, So I have logged in to Fury Launchpad, and I can see that all these Fury tiles are available. So please be remember, whenever we want to do the master data activities, it can be done from the backend. And whenever transactional activities and all you want to do, you can use this Fury tile. So, and the configuration for the, and yes, this is S4 HANA on premise. It is not cloud, but but S4 HANA cloud also has got now the specification management, collaborations, everything is available. But wherever you wanted to propose the specification management for a cloud, whenever customer asks that we wanted to manage our all specification which is required to build a recipe from the cloud solution. So do you have cloud solution available from SAP PLM? Then your answer should be yes. So now, from this year onward, SAP is launched the specification management everything as a cloud solution. So you can use that SAP PLM specification management for the cloud, and they can manage everything, and they can integrate with different suppliers from the collaboration. Okay. So, and the system what I am showing you, it is the on-premise system which has to be installed, where the license to buy this on-premise is different compared to cloud, PLM cloud. Okay. Yeah. So you can go access the Fury Launchpad from here only, or if you have not configured here, you can copy this and put on browser, and it can you can reach to your Fury. Where is that? Just now I opened. I think it is okay. Fine. Anyway, so you can also open the Fury Launchpad from here. So you can open the Launchpad from here. You can see that /UI2 /FLP, but some case you need to configure in your host file the IP address, where if you want to call from easy access menu in GUI, then the system will take you directly there. Or if you have already the URL, then this URL will also take you there, and this you can reach to Fury portal, and you can access the Fury tiles which you wanted to work on. So here you can see that uh, in traditional way, you have something called the transaction code CG02BD, where uh, you want to access the specification. But please be remember, whenever you are working on S4 HANA, then always the HANA database will always understand if you do some transactional activity from Fury portal, and you will observe that whenever you try to do something from backend, but it is not visible in the Fury portal, the data are not visible. So please understand that the S4 HANA database structure, tables and all, it is differently managed compared to ECC. So and we have to be careful, and we have, as per best practices, we have to always uh, perform the transitional activity everything from here. So you can see that manage specification is here, and you can see that there are a lot of specification, standard specifications are available, and you can see that there are option to create a specification here, and you can see that here there are specification category, specification type, authorization group. These all are mandatory. So you can see that there are substance, packaging, raw substance, real substance. So these all are category which is predefined by SAP. So which cannot be changed. But if you want to change, so this is something you can change specification type. So there is an configuration assignment between the specification type to specification category. So under one category, you can assign your own specification types. So specification type which is configurable, specification category which is not configurable. It is predefined in the system. We will go to backend and we will see that how this configuration and where this configuration is. I wanted to show you here. Uh, yeah. So you can go to logistic. Logistic, yeah. You can see here product lifecycle management, logistic general product lifecycle management, and you can see here the PLM user interface. Here you can see that recipe development, and you can see here specification management. So you can see here product life logis under logistic general product life cycle management, PLM web interface. You can see here specification management, and then you can see here under recipe development. You can see here basic settings. So I was talking about the configuration for this specification category and specification type. So you can see here before going to the specification number, system will generate its own specification number. How it will be? I'm in create specification, and if I will enter continue, then system will generate a specification number. As you can see, the specification number 242. So this number, it is configurable, and this is configurable from here. Specify number range for specification. So here you can configure your number range which is required for the specification. So if your client is saying that I don't want 242 number for this specification of particular specification type, then you can go and configure from here specification number range for specification. Okay. So so the number range here, I have whole set of configuration document which we will see, but I just wanted to start from the from this basic topic for the number range, specification type, and the specification category. That's why I have come here. So the specification type, so there are different specification type based on the usage which you can configure in the system here. So if you want to copy a specification which you want to use for your own purpose, you can copy this and you can make it your name as per your requirement, and you can put a description here, the specification type description as uh, something, and here it is a material assignment. If this spec type you are going to use for a specification which will have a material assignment, then you can use that. Otherwise you can remove this material assignment. And this will, once I will copy this, system will ask me to copy all the dependent objects, then you can copy all. So there are number of dependent entries are copied as 21. So you, this way you can create a spec type and which will have to configured under a certain specification category. You can see that under this substance, you can see that this specification type will be visible. So that is how you come here, and that is how you come here, and when you try to create a specification, that's how you come and create here a specification. The system will show you in the first screen specification category and specification type, and the authorization group. Okay. So here, if you want to assign this specification time, and it should be visible for all of the specification for this spec category, then it will show you that those specification type under that. Okay. So so I don't want to go here now, because we want to see that the slides. So we were here. So specification management. So we wanted to go here that what is the specification management and how it is managed. So as I have shown you, there are two ways. I will not save this because we are not supposed to do any changes in the configuration. So I mentioned you that if you want to access the specification and you are using the you are working on S4 HANA system, then you should go to Fury portal, and you have to access the specification and create the specification from here. Either manage specification or create a specification. Both are same. Okay, you can create the specification. Or if you are not on S4 HANA system, some client they are still not moved to HANA, but they are using uh, the the ECC, still they can go to this transaction code and they can access the specification workbench here. As you can see that they have specific substance, dangerous goods classification, package and material. So here like this, you can access the specification and you can search the specification. So you can see that like this, you can search a specification, and I want to show you in backend, like in GUI, you have accessed this specification and what is the significance of this specification, and what all important fields are there, and what is header and what is property tree, and how we can configure this for any spec type. Okay. So uh, I wanted to go, yeah. So as you can see that if you want to search a specification workbench, you can access through the CG02BG transaction code, or you can go directly to the Fury. If your client is already on S4 HANA, you can go to Fury portal and you can access the manage specification Fury tile, or create a specification Fury tile. So there is a specific list of roles which you need to know when you want to work on specification management. You treat you as a recipe developer, where you have to manage all the specification, different specifications, so that once you create the specification, you can use it as a input of the formula to create a recipe. So that's why it is required. We need to work on first specification management. So these are very generic thing, specification database, which you can find here. There are different category. So this is substance category, dangerous goods classification. This is a standard in nature offered by SAP. Okay. So which you have already seen in the SPRO, where you can control. Okay. So here you can see that, as mentioned previously, this can be accessed. What is now the important thing is what all area are available within the specification management. There are three area: toolbar, navigation, and detail structure, as well as application area. If you can see this, if I can increase this. you can is called navigation area. Here what you are seeing, the arrow mark, binocular, all this is called toolbar. And this is application area, what you can see here, which is part of specification header. And here you can see the property tree area, which is also very important for any specification. So please be remember, one specification type can have one property tree or more than one property tree, and it is configurable. So you can configure based on your requirement. And how you will configure, I will show you. And so once you configure, then only based on the specification type, this property tree will be populated. And you can make it as a default also. Whenever somebody will create a specification for that spec type, it will be always visible here, that particular property tree. So this is an application area where you can see the all specification header tabs are there. So this diagram shows about the SAP GUI transaction codes for specification management. What about the Fury tiles? I will go to manage specification here. See, I wanted to show you the both ways. We don't know if somebody works on still ECC, somebody works on S4 HANA. The both way you need to understand how it is managed. Okay. So here you can see that already created specification. I have to click on display specification, and you can see here the not similar with the SAP GUI screens, but it has got different screen, but it is very much uh, mapped from what is displayed in the behind. So you can see that there are three views, main views: general data view, properties views, process routing view. Okay. So under general data view, you have basic data identifiers, header, status, material assignment, and relationship. Let's go to uh, in this picture. You can see that specification header, which is nothing but your in the Fury tile. You can see under general data, it is it is available here. Header data, what you are seeing here, specification data. So administration, validity, everything is same. Only thing, the screen looks like different. Okay. But the content, what you can see from back end, it is same, what it is visible here. Okay. Identifier, what is identifier, why it is necessary, and where you can control this identifier. Okay. Suppose you are in China, and you are selling a product called Lakme sunscreen cream. So, for Lakme sunscreen cream, you treat this specification as your final output specification. So, the Chinese people, will they able to understand the Lakme sunscreen name with the English name? More or less, the logic you are mentioning is right actually. But the thing is, we have to maintain the identifier in different language when we are selling this product, finished product. And this finished product is nothing but your output specification, which will be used in the recipe. And in order to use in the recipe, which will be sold in the market, that recipe name should come from this specification. And that is how you add here name in different language. And other than English, you can maintain this language in Chinese, or you can maintain in Thai, or you can maintain in a different language. So based on that language, this product name will be displayed. Okay. And then same product you can sell in different countries, but the information which you wanted to show for that product should be maintained or should be known by the name of that local language. So that is how the identifier is nothing but where you identify the name of the product. So it is nothing but when you are selling a product, consumer product, obviously it will be known by name. If you are selling a product, a chemical product, then definitely it will have the chemical number. Okay. Or if you are selling a product, a petroleum product, then it will have a unique number which is nothing but UNSS substance. So these kind of information you maintain for a specification within the identified tag. So if you wanted to show this product name, then you need to always remember that you need to come to identify tab and you have to maintain the name here, so that it will display in the specification. Okay. So the basically identifier here you can maintain the different combination. As I am display mode, I cannot add here, but you can add here. Okay. I'm just trying to take you initially. I am take you to walk through of the different tabs and what is the significance, and later on, as a part of exercise, you need to create different specification, all types of specification. That is part of your lab exercise. Then only you will understand that where and what data need to be maintained for a specification. Then only you can create recipe and use this specification for recipe. Okay.
Uh, Saket, I have a doubt here. What is the purpose of this usage at the end, usage column?
Yeah, usage is nothing but usage is nothing but a particular country or particular region or particular you can see here, yeah, particular country, particular region, whether this is valid or not, this specification is valid or not. So
Okay,
there
so
is a config setting for this usage also. You are selling one product in different country, so how you will maintain in the SAP system. So whether this specification is sold in different country, so you need to maintain the usage two level, one at header level, one another one at property tree level. Okay. So here property tree level, suppose this particular attribute, this should be only visible, or it should be only valid for a particular region or particular country. Then you need to maintain that many uses here. So what you will have multiple uses assigned here, and then you can it will be displayed when somebody wants to log in to this specification. They can see, we can make the restriction in such a way that they can see only that value. So there is an authorization concept for that one. We can restrict whenever somebody from other than India they want to log in to this spec, they can only see that view. So that can be controlled from authorization concept, where you have to restrict from one authorization object, and where they can see only that particular value. But that is achievable from the custom settings, where we have to restrict to one set of user where they can see only one user. So yes, so here you can see that there are different properties. So there are different properties for this specification. This is property tree which is attached, which is linked to this specification type. So here you can see that the specification type we had selected for real substance. Okay. So here you can see that real substance, which is specification type, this has got the link with the property tree which is displayed here. How many property trees are displayed? One, two, three, four, five, six. So there is a relationship between specification type and property tree. We can do that configuration. We can make I mean, you are asking that whenever somebody will create a specification, always system should propose only one default property tree, right? So you have to start from characteristic. Okay. uh, I wanted to come from basically how it works. First, you create a characteristic, and characteristic will have the assignment to the class. Class will have the assignment to the value assignment type, and value assignment type will show here the particular field's value here. Okay. And you are asking that that field data should be mandatory. We can do that. And so that without that particular field data system, you will not able to come out. You have to enter that data once you are there. This is here. You can see the setup property tree configuration here, where you can see the property trees are there available. So you can have your own property tree, and you can uh, decide the label, on which level what should be appear. So as of now, this is standard property tree I am showing you here. Similarly, you can decide that what attribute should display under one property tree, and what field can be made mandatory, what field cannot be made mandatory. Okay. So I was just trying to show you the main way of usage of specification, how we can what all the different tabs of specification. And definitely once we go to the uh, lab here, lab exercises, we start from characteristic. As you can see here, create characteristic, create class, create VAT, create property tree, assignment of property tree to spec type, in order to show that. Okay. And then we have to create all this diet spec, allergen, phrases also we will cover. And this is the activity actually.